So I've prepared the guitar, started to prepare the guitar for the work it needs, and first and foremost I've refitted the electronics and the pickups, blah 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 blah. I'm not going to drag that out to show you. There's no point. You don't need to see them. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll tell you why I will, because you know, soldering. Of course I'm good at soldering. I'll just show. I'll just hold the battery compartment there. All the electrics are resoldered and are in place. It's a matter of keeping this inside. I do like the battery to sit above the felt padding, so I'll get all the wiring in there nice and neat. And this is just the way I like. That's the way I like to have my battery. The felt padding in there, then the battery compartment. I'm going to replace the cover, and there's a cover. It's still got the plastic, the original. Silver side, and I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do next on this guitar. And I've taped up the fingerboard and the neck. One second. I've taped up the fingerboard and the neck, ready for levelling the frets. But not only am I going to level the frets, I'm also going to stain the fingerboard. And the stain I'm using will be, I've never used it before, it's a water-based stain from Crimson Guitars in England. I used to use Rustin's wood dye, which has given decent results, but I was told by one of my good clients that he says if you want a good wood dye to stain rosewood black to make it look like ebony, you want to go and get the Crimson Guitars stuff. He says it will make anything black. There's a cover back on, by the way. That's on there. Also, when I sell the guitar, there will be a 24 volt mod kit going in with the battery compartment. I will show that a little bit later. But anyway, the wood stain I'm going to be going with is Stunning Stains by Crimson Guitars. Never use this. I was going to use Indian ink or India ink, but I was recommended this. It wasn't expensive, about €12 delivered, which is about, well, €11, about £10, 10 English pounds, just over £10 delivered, which I don't mind paying for. There's 250 millilitres in there. That's a lot. That's a lot, isn't it? That is, I don't know what it is, I don't know how much it is in pints, but whatever. That is a lot of stain. So that's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to show the guitar now. I have 6 frets need attention. Let me just get my marker pen because the marker's rubbed off. I'll mark up the areas, I've marked up the areas that need attention. There are 6 frets covering, I believe, I'll tell you in a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas over 6 frets, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's only 5 frets. I will take my fret rocker across here and check again, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 frets need attention, being this one on this edge, this one in the middle and this edge, this one on that edge, and this one on this edge, and this one on this edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets. I will be taping up the fingerboard, but I'll be taping up in such a way that I can remove the tape later, because I've also taped up the side of the fingerboard and the ends, both ends there. And the side, this side and here, because I will be staining the neck after doing the levelling. Now I'm going to get it all taped up for levelling first. I'll get the frets levelled, then I'll recrown the frets, I'll leave the polishing for a little while, then I'll stain the fingerboard. Once I've stained the fingerboard, I will tape over the neck again, then I'll polish the frets, I'll remove the tape and I'll stain again. So it's going to have 2 lots of stain. I'll probably do 4 or 5 coats of stain to make it look as black as possible. Hopefully it will come out well, I'm sure it will do. And I will come back at various stages of the work just to show you how I'm getting on. Now the nut, I do have a tusk nut going on there. I've already shaped the nut slightly to make it fit the shelf properly. I've also filed the shelf down a little bit. The nut fits perfectly, and it is a higher one than I had before. I can't remember what model Graphtec tusk nut it is, but I will show you when I come to fit it, so stay tuned. Now you'll see that the neck or the fingerboard is all taped up. The neck is absolutely straight, and I have a levelling beam with 240 grit paper that side, 400 grit that side. Now because I've already levelled the frets with files and got them as close as I needed them to be, I'm just going to go across with 400 grit, and we should, within a few strokes, have all of the frets level. But there is one or two just popping up a little now. You see I've got them all, well maybe you don't see, let me just zoom in. They're all covered in marker pen, black marker pen, and what I need to do is just level the frets. This is a perfectly flat levelling beam. I had it milled flat. I'm going to go across with a 400 grit and just level the frets. And once we have all of the frets showing silver with all the marker pen removed, the frets will be level. It may take a little while. I think that end's pretty good. In this area around here we have some black marker, even though these are all silver. So these ones, so some of these either this side or this side are still a little high. So we're just going to keep going. I'll go with the 400 240 grit, turning over. A bit of a coarser grit. It's going to remove more material quicker. I can feel where the high frets are, they're around this region. And what this means is I'm going to have to re-crown all of the frets and polish all of the frets. Rather than just do the 5 I showed, I'm actually doing the whole fingerboard. So let me just brush off. We'll draw some black marker here, so it means we must have a high fret one side or another. So it's got to be up here. And I think it could be fret 12. That seems to be okay. This one's a little high. Just there, definitely just there. So what I'll do is, I'll just come and remove just a little from that area. Test for rock again. And we'll go back with the 400 grit. We'll turn over. Still in this area, this one is not being touched, so maybe a high one here. I again will always, you can do this, you can brush. I may need some new paper on here because this has been used a few times, so maybe the paper is not as abrasive as it ought to be. And there, I'm satisfied that all the frets are now level. They are all silver on the top. Looks pretty good. That looks pretty good to me. All the frets are silver on the top. It means they are all level. What I'm going to do while it's on camera is I'm going to go across with a fret locker, checking for any unevenness. Now this will make the video a lot longer, and it also now means that I have to re-crown all of the frets, but these are fantastic. We do have a level playing surface. That's beautiful. So the frets are level. Always worth doing. If I'm looking at keeping the guitar or selling it, this is always worth doing regardless. That was a little bit high still, that would have been causing a problem. What I could do with this is just take the file. Like I say, they're all going to be re-crowned anyway, so let's just check back one, check back two. Does happen sometimes, and that's fantastic, they're all level. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to re-crown all of them. And I'll reposition the camera slightly and I'll show you how I do that. Frets really are my thing. I do more fret levels and refrets than anything else in my workshop. And there you go. So the frets are all level. So what I'm going to do is, while we're on camera, I'm going to move the camera just slightly. I'm going to crown one on camera, so we're going to zoom in just a little bit more. So as much as I dare go, otherwise we're going to get out of focus. So what I'll do is I'll show you how. And what I'm looking to do is, where I've now made the fret flat, I'm going to put that crown back this way, that D shape going across there, because we've flattened the fret now, we need to put the curve back in. So I shall show using the files I already have out. Got my 3-edge file, this is one of my favourite files. I already have a crowning file, which I could use to do the whole lot, but I prefer to do it with this file. This is 3 edges, and each edge are 3 surfaces, and the edges are all ground flat, so we don't dig into the wood. I also have a flat file in case I need to alter anything. I won't, so I'm going to use just a combination of these 2 files. And what I'm looking to do is make a thin line down the centre of the fret, because when the string touches the fret, I want it to touch as little material as possible. So I'm going to make that line thin, probably try and get it to round about 1/4 of a millimetre. And what I'll do is with this file, with the edges, and say for instance I do this side, as I file, I will arc it away from the camera to remove more from the top. And when I go to this side, I'll arc it toward the camera. I'm going to build the crown with this file. And I'm looking just to get that thin line on the top. I'll go to the other side and I'm going to arc the file away from the camera. Like so. And now we just have a thin black line down the centre of the fret. It means where it was not once flat, it is now arced, and what we've done is we've left that centre line right down the centre. It means we've not removed any height, which is what we're looking to do. I'll take my crowning file and just remove any burrs and just smooth it over. And there you go. And I've not removed any of the pen from the top of the fret. It means the fret is the same height as it was before, so we'll get no rock to the next one. I'm now going to move on to the other 21 frets. Once I've got them done, I can move on to the polishing. So only a few more frets left to do. I've done all up to here, so I've got 5 to do. I've already done that one, so 4 left to do. And I normally have some music playing in the background. In fact, I always have some music playing in the background, but I'm not going to bother today because I'm just going to work and you can just watch me work. There's not a great lot to do here because these frets are more or less all crowned anyway. This one probably needs more material, so I'm going to do this one first. And again, clean the file. And I'm really just going to work and let you watch. So, just removing any burrs and check for height. Got no rocks, so we know we've done that right. So we're doing fantastic. 3 more to do. I can now start at this side. These are more or less crowned, so they're going to need tiniest bit of attention. Don't think all these jobs are this easy, because they're not. I wouldn't be showing it. But if I was worried about any of that, but these frets are already crowned anyway. They need, they need hardly anything removing at all. Again, cleaning the file. This is just to give you an idea of how easy it can sometimes be. I might just removing any excessive burrs. We'll check the fret, that it's level, it's not rocking, we'll not took more material off. We'll check back one, and we'll check the next one. So keeping them level, 2 more to do. Fantastic this. Like I say, these are already crowned, these. So it's just a matter of just giving them a little bit more profiling. Not removing any material, any great material at all. Just keeping that shape and keeping the shape uniform across the whole length of the neck. Again. You can always feel the resistance. If there's no resistance, you know your frets are already there. So check the one we've just done, check back one, make sure we've got no rock anymore, and check the final one. That's a little bit high on that edge, we're not bothered about that, we'll sort that out in a second. Last one. So we've got a little bit high on this edge, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to take the file, I'm just going to remove that little bit, check, so a little bit high, remove a little more for height, and that's good. We'll just reprofile that edge. Just this one there. And now we're going to check that fret, not rocking, a little bit of rock there because we removed some height from there, it's altered this one, I'm going to alter that in a minute, and a little there, no great shakes. All we're going to do is just take a swipe at that one, that's the one we just done now, it's fine, and the one behind it, that's also fine, so we've got that perfect. We'll just go over that just a little anyway. We're going to check all of these. Now this one's a little bit high on this edge. It's because we had to remove material from there. So what we're going to do is the same again. You get to know how these things work when you've been doing it a while, such as I have. And there you go. And we'll level across all of those. Just a little bit more profiling on this edge. And that should be all 22 frets level. Just check these 5, 6 and 7 along here now because we have removed some extra material on the edges of those. It's beautiful. And that's it, and we already know from this point onwards if these are all level, all up this end. So that's it. That is how we level and recrown frets. Next part of the process will be to polish them. I'm going to move over to a polishing bench. And I'll show you a little bit of that. How we polish is we'll take, and why we polish. When we polish, we're not polishing them to get a shine, we're polishing them to remove all the scratches we've got on the frets by filing this way and this way. So we're going to go with 6 different grits starting at 800 going through to 2,500. It'll be 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000 and 2500 grits. So each sandpaper, each grit is finer. And the more we polish, we'll go with a finer grit, it removes all of the scratches and brings them to a shine. Once that's done, we'll finish with steel wool. It's quite a long process, takes a good few hours, but end of the day, whether I keep the guitar or sell it, it's going to be worth it because whoever's going to buy the guitar is getting a brilliant guitar. And if I keep it, I'm playing a brilliant guitar, so it makes no difference who it goes to, this work needs to be done. So there you go. I will come back shortly when we have got it on the polishing bench and I'll show you how we go on with that.